This is Awesome Sauce Radio. I am your host, Blind Adam. We have a special interview this afternoon with the legendary Kevin Eastman, the co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Adam. So awesome to be with you here again. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how have things been since the last time we chatted?
Good, busy. We've wrapped up, actually, literally, the ink is still wet. Wrapped up issue 5 of Last Ronin, and we're getting ready to send that off to press, which is, yay. It's been a wonderfully awesome, intense journey, and we sincerely want to thank anybody listening out there for the pain and suffering and for waiting. Because
Yeah, can't believe it's been a year since issue 1 came out.
Well, I figured that, I was talking to somebody just the other day, and it's the original story that Pete and I wrote for, which evolved into The Last Ronin, was written in 1987. I guess, let me see, 35, it's like a 35-year wait. So I appreciate a couple extra weeks, people waiting, but I think they're going to be really thrilled with what Tom and I have done and the last issue, and certainly the wonderful Escorza brothers and Ben Bishop and everybody that's helped on this.
I can't wait to read it. It's been one of my favorite turtle stories of all time.
Thank you so very much. We're excited for everybody to see it.
You must be excited to see the final results, because it's really been a fun book. When does that actually drop in the stores?
I believe the third week in April. And third week in April, I believe it is dropping in stores. And we're also working on the Collected at the same time, which has been really fun. So that as we see the Collected come together, which will be out over the summer, so we get to see how now that issue 5 falls in, so all 200 pages are all falling together in this one big volume. So looking at it that way, as far as the individual issues, is kind of mind blowing to me as well. So we're certainly super excited for the final issue to be out as a standalone, and then later on this year, the Collected. So again, appreciate the fans waiting for the material. It's been quite a journey.
That's awesome. Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 127 is All-Star. How does it feel to have Venus finally join the comics after all these years?
Yes, it was a really wonderful idea that Sophie had. I've been enjoying pretty much what the whole team does. I call it the Mutant Town series. That as we Tom wrapped up everything he wanted to say, what we wanted to do up in with issue 100. Now we're coming up past 2 years that it's been Sophie's taken over the helm and just done some incredibly fun and wonderful and innovative things, including bringing Venus back into the fold. But it's not the Venus that we know from the original Next Mutation series, but it is a great version of how she came up. The idea that she came up with to bring that character in, another female turtle and a character named Venus into the storyline is just is super exciting. So
I cannot wait to see this. I was a big fan of Next Mutation, so to finally see the character come to comics is going to be a blast.
Yes, agreed. So very much so.
Didn't Venus have a previous appearance in the comics, or is this the first time?
This is it. Pretty much the first full appearance, because once, and that was based on her creation and evolution in the Next Mutation series, and the uncomfortable reaction at that time. When Tom and I started, when we were started working on the new IDW universe. By the time we're heading towards issue 50, we knew that we wanted to bring a female turtle into the mix. It was just looking for the right story opportunity to do that, and that arrived with the creation of Jenica. And so we've got the best of both worlds, where we've sort of been able to bring that to life in the ongoing series, and then Sophie's concept of bringing the Venus character in is just brilliant. And I can't say enough about it. I've really enjoyed what she's been doing, bringing like Toka and Razor in, and
her run has been a blast with what she's been bringing in.
Yeah, really digging it. So yeah,
that's awesome sauce. Do you have any fond memories of having turtles on the Oprah Winfrey show back in the day?
I'm sorry, say that again. I was.
Do you have any fond memories of the Turtles being on the Oprah Winfrey show back in the day? I watched it a couple of nights ago because a friend of mine brought it to my attention, and I'm like, no. I thought it was like a Robot Chicken clip.
Yep.
So I watched the half an hour of it, and I it was like the perfect medicine that night.
It was just brilliant. It was like, and that was sort of the wonderful strangeness and the collision of so many worlds and so many pop culture things. It was, I think, the Oprah interview and the and then being interviewed by Barbara Walters.
They were interviewed by Barbara Walters?
Yes, you have to Google it. It's a really funny moment. She was when the Turtles, I think it was around the after the release of the first movie. I think it was leading up to the release of the second movie, and they were sort of a bona fide movie stars at that point, and they had this kind of a funny technical glitch when they were talking to her that she talks to them like they're real creatures and like they were real people, like you would do like in an Oprah kind of thing, and they
I have to check this out.
So they bring up this thing about missing their father, and one of them is supposed to cry like a little bit of a tear of sadness, and it kind of messes up and sort of water starts shooting out, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, you should, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, and you got to check that out as well. But that's
I definitely will check that out. What plans do you have for the Turtles in 2022 after Venus?
Well, I think that with what's going on in the ongoing series, Tom has really come up with a really brilliant concept called the Armageddon Games, which is going to be integrated in what's going on in the outside world, outside of what's been going on in Mutant Town with Sophie's story. So we're sort of going to be expanding and bringing both worlds into a bigger picture of what's going on in New York. And the Armageddon Games is, I always hate to end up giving any spoilers away. But
no, I don't want any spoilers because I'm intrigued just by the title alone, the Armageddon Games.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun, and it's going to be the furtherance of just some really great stories coming up in the ongoing series. And then, with the wrapping up Last Ronin and sort of creating that part of the multiverse, if you will. To me, the Turtles have always sort of had a bit of a multiverse from the original Mirage comics to the animated series to the movies to the IDW series, all this. But with adding the layer of Last Ronin, we feel like we could explore some more in the Last Ronin universe, and so what that might be, we haven't figured it out.
I would love to see more of April's daughter
Casey
after Last Ronin.
Yeah, I do. We really gotten, that was. I was fond of her before she was added into the series. I mean, Casey Marie was the idea, one of the ideas I had from the very beginning of bringing her into the mix. Really excited to see what we come up with for to do with her as a character.
Do you have a saddest moment in Last Ronin? I know what the one I read so far is, but I was wondering what yours was.
It's all of it, and I mean that in the kindest sense, and I feel like when I say it's not that the whole series is sad, but it is sort of it really deals with some tough issues, and that was the way it was designed early on, was that we wanted to address the loss of family and this the pain of this lifelong mission of this feud between these two families or these two clans, and we wanted to make sure that as we lost each member of the family, that it was of great story importance, and great life importance, as it was part of the bigger story. I think Splinter and Donatello was a pretty tough one.
That's the one that made. I just reread it before I started getting ready to enter the StreamYard and everything, and it still brings a tear to my eyes.
Yep.
Especially when right after you see Michelangelo take the ashes and go into the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so. There's moments like that in the series, but that's the way it was designed from the beginning, and that's the way kind of Pete and I saw it when we really sort of put pen to paper back in 1987. Was sort of looking 30 years down the road at that time and seeing where the Turtles would be, and then that was going to be intended to be sort of a lighthouse, if you will, that we would navigate towards. being maybe not the final turtle story, but sort of an evolution of what happens. Where would they be in 30 years? And that's the concept that we really embraced and took all the way there in the last Ronin series. And Tom and I and the gang.
Beautiful series. Cannot
Thank
wait for the trades to be coming out as well.
Thank you.
Can you also clarify another rumor for me?
Sure.
Did Frank Miller have any hand in writing "Go," the infamous TMNT rap performed by Vanilla Ice?
I hadn't heard that one. That's brilliant, though. I think my evolution with Frank, just in that he was such an absolutely epic inspiration to me when I was younger. Thus Peter and I dedicating the very first issue of Turtles to Jack Kirby and Frank Miller, and I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years, here and there. And I think initially he was flattered, and I think he probably was got a little annoyed that we borrowed too heavily, and I still continue to be quote unquote inspired by his work, and probably lean too heavily on his creativity and my own. It was always great to see him out and around at shows, and hope to see him again. But I hadn't heard that rumor about the Vanilla Ice thing. That's pretty good.
I did a Google search and it came up, and I was just curious, because how did you get Vanilla Ice to do one of the greatest rap songs of all time?
Yeah, that's great. I like the updated macaroni and cheese version. I thought that was pretty good for the commercial.
I have not seen that yet.
Oh, you got to check it out. You gotta check it out. It's quite. I thought it was quite clever. Just the way it was staged. So, but yeah, I've never met the man. So we've been at shows, I think, and where he's been at the same time, but just never met.
Sweet. What conventions will we be seeing Eastman Studios in?
Actually, yeah, I'm glad you asked. I always love to point people to the KevinEastmanStudios.com website, which Courtney has just added a couple more to the slate. I think we're up to around 6, including San Diego Comic-Con. But next up for us is Lexington, Kentucky, the end of this month, and then I know for sure that Huntsville, Alabama, is in April, and then after that, it hasn't come up on my radar yet, but fans should go to Kevin Eastman Studios, and you can see the list of dates and places we're going to be. I think Montreal was just added in the summer.
Anything on the East Coast?
Yeah, I think Montreal, and of course, we were thrilled to be back at GraniteCon, which the last time we were there was in October. I think this time it runs in September. But GraniteCon.
Where is GraniteCon?
In New Hampshire. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's outside of Manchester, I believe, New Hampshire, and it's shaping up to be quite a turtle-rific event. They got a lot of voice talent, a lot of turtle artists are coming in for it, so it's.
Maybe may have to take a drive.
Yep, it's a great show, and it's a great area, and it's a wonderful time of year to be up there in New England anyway. So we're excited. We've got a lot of family there, so we're excited to see a lot of old friends and family while we're there.
That's awesome, Sauce. You did an amazing cover for King Size Conan. You have any more Conan covers in the works?
Man, I love doing those so much. I did a new Wolverine cover for Larry Hama has returned to Wolverine with a it's Wolverine patch in Manipur.
Okay.
So my friend Mark Basso over at Marvel always has me, and I appreciate him so much. He offers me these wonderful gigs, and I do enjoy them. So I get 2 Wolverine covers coming up, and I'm working on an Elektra assassin story.
That's awesome, Sauce.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, with my buddy Freddie Williams, we were invited to do a cover and a 10-page story as part of the Black, White, and Blood series. And there was a little bit of confusion, so it was sort of added to my schedule unexpectedly. So
I can't wait for that.
So we're having a good time doing. I should be wrapping that up right after I wrap up last Ronin's off now. So now it's just finishing Elektra, and then it's off to the races. So, and I think that's coming out the next couple months too. So, but I love, these gigs where I can sort of get in and get out quick are fun, instead of spending 35 years doing Last Ronin or 3 years intensely doing Last Ronin. So
and last but not least, how do you feel with the Seth Rogen TMNT coming out?
that's a great question. I haven't seen I've seen little or nothing from it, and somebody was asking about it the other day, and I felt like what's been so fun with the Turtles, when another really wonderful creative mind comes in and takes the helm, like Captain Kirk, if you will, like when, say, Ciro Neely took over the Nickelodeon series and started that series, the 2012 animated series. You really, somebody's coming in, and it's they're bringing their vision, their idea, what they loved about the Turtles into the mix, and to me that was the best combination for success. And what Ciro did is absolutely fantastic. You think what Kevin Monroe did when he took over and did the 2007 Turtle movie, or that kind of thing. So I think what Seth has in mind, and I don't know what he has in mind, but I'm sure it's with it comes from the right place. I know he's a big comic fan.
Oh yeah,
Turtle fan. So I think he's doing what he wants to see these see our characters do. And I'm if I don't see anything beforehand, I will definitely be one of the people in the theater seeing it on opening weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. So.
And as always, I want to thank you for all the friendships and support you've shown over the years. I thank you for your interview. And this has always been a blast having you on the show.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate your support and your friendship, and love doing the show. And maybe we'll have to have us back around the time the Collected comes out. Let me know what you think of the ending. So.
Definitely. I can't wait to read it. Everyone checked out in mid-April. And thank you for teaching a blind kid that you don't need sight to have a vision. I love you guys.
No, well, thanks. We love you too, and we appreciate you so much. So you take care of yourself, and we'll hope to see you maybe at one of these conventions coming up.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Take care.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
Yoo-hoo.